The unexpected exchange. In a distant corner of the galaxy, at a prestigious intergalactic academy, students from many alien species gathered to learn. The academy was filled with bright colors and strange sounds, each alien student unique in their appearance and abilities. They were excited about their studies, eager to learn from each other and to become leaders in their own worlds. But this year was different. This year, a human was joining them. Jake was the only human at the academy. He stepped onto the campus with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The aliens looked at him with curiosity and skepticism. They had heard stories about humans, but they thought of them as primitive and strange. Some students whispered among themselves, pointing at Jake and giggling. Jake tried to ignore the stares. He was here to learn, and he hoped to show the aliens that humans could be more than they imagined. He had always been fascinated by medicine and had studied hard to master first aid. He wanted to share this knowledge with his classmates. As the first day of class began, Jake entered the large lecture hall, filled with students from different planets. The room was buzzing with energy, and the air was thick with excitement. Bright holographic displays floated in the air, showcasing various alien technologies. The instructor, a tall creature with shimmering skin, welcomed everyone. Today we will learn about first aid, and we have a special guest from Earth, they announced, gesturing towards Jake. The aliens turned to look at him, some with interest, while others appeared indifferent. A green-skinned alien named Zura leaned over to her friend and whispered, "I can't believe we have to learn from a human. This should be entertaining." Jake felt a wave of embarrassment wash over him, but he took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Hi, everyone. I'm Jake, and I'm excited to share some first aid techniques with you," he said, trying to sound confident. The aliens exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of amusement and doubt. The instructor handed Jake a basic first aid kit and motioned for him to begin. Jake started with a simple explanation of how to treat cuts and scrapes. He demonstrated how to clean a wound and apply a bandage. The aliens watched, some nodding, but others looked bored. Zara raised her hand, a smirk on her face. "Why would we need this? We have advanced medical machines that do all of this for us," she said, her tone dismissive. Jake replied calmly, "Not every situation allows for technology. Sometimes you need to rely on your own skills. What if your machines fail? Knowing how to help someone in an emergency is important." A few students exchanged looks, starting to understand the value of his words. Undeterred by the skepticism, Jake continued his lesson. He shared stories of how he had helped friends and family back on Earth during emergencies. He spoke passionately about the importance of quick thinking and compassion when someone was hurt. Slowly, the atmosphere in the room began to change. Some students were intrigued by his practical knowledge, while others were still unsure. After the class, a small group of alien students approached Jake. "You were pretty good," Zara admitted, her expression softening. "I didn't think humans had any useful skills, but you actually know what you're talking about." Jake smiled, relieved to see a hint of respect in her eyes. "Thanks, Zora. I know it's hard to see the value in what I'm teaching, but I promise you it can save lives," he replied. The other students nodded, starting to see him as a potential ally rather than just an oddity. As the days passed, Jake worked hard to gain the respect of his classmates. He was determined to show them that humans had something valuable to offer. He practiced his first aid skills every day, often staying late to help those who wanted to learn more. Little by little, the alien students began to appreciate Jake's knowledge. They saw him not just as a human, but as a friend. One afternoon, Jake set up a small first aid station outside, hoping to attract more students. He arranged bandages, antiseptics, and other supplies. As students passed by, some stopped to watch. Zara was among them. "Are you really going to teach us how to bandage a wound?" she asked, half joking. "Absolutely. You never know when you might need it," Jake replied with enthusiasm. Slowly, more students gathered around, curious about what he had to offer. Jake felt a surge of excitement. This was his chance to show them what humans could do. The Academy's first lesson on human first aid had started, and it was just the beginning of a journey that would change their perceptions forever. As Jake demonstrated more techniques, he knew he was not only teaching them, but also breaking down the barriers between their worlds. The unexpected exchange had begun, and it was only going to get more interesting from here. The training session. The sun rose over the Intergalactic Academy, casting vibrant colors across the campus. Excitement filled the air as students prepared for their first training session on first aid. Jake felt a mix of nervousness and anticipation as he headed to the training room. He had practiced hard, and today was his chance to prove that humans had valuable skills. As he entered the training room, he was greeted by a sea of curious alien faces. Students of various shapes and colors filled the seats, their eyes on him. The instructor, a towering figure with glistening scales, introduced Jake to the class. "Today, we will learn first aid techniques from our human guest," they said, their voice echoing through the room. The alien students exchanged skeptical glances, their chatter filling the room. Zara, the green-skinned alien who had shown some interest last time, leaned over to her friend and whispered, "This should be interesting. I can't wait to see what he does." Jake took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to begin. He opened the first aid kit, revealing its contents: bandages, antiseptics, and medical tools. "First, I want to show you how to treat a simple cut," he said, holding up a bandage. In emergencies, knowing how to quickly stop bleeding can save a life. As he demonstrated, he noticed some students giggling and whispering. Jake felt a wave of frustration, but pushed it aside. "Let's pretend someone has cut their arm. First, you clean the wound with antiseptic," he explained, pouring some on a cotton pad. "Then, you cover it with a bandage to keep it safe." Zara raised her hand again, her expression teasing. "But why would we need to do that? We have advanced technology that can heal wounds instantly," she challenged, looking around at her classmates, who nodded in agreement. Jake smiled, trying to stay calm. "What if that technology fails? Or what if you are in a situation where you can't reach it?" "Knowing these basic skills can be very useful," he replied, hoping to convey the importance of his knowledge. The instructor stepped in, sensing the tension. "Let's do a demonstration," they said. "We'll simulate an emergency, and Jake will guide you through it. This will be a good way to see his methods in action." The students looked intrigued as they prepared for the exercise. They were divided into pairs, with one student pretending to be injured while the other practiced first aid. Jake walked around, offering guidance and encouragement. He watched as the students fumbled with the bandages and antiseptics, sometimes making mistakes. As they practiced, Jake noticed something surprising. Some of the alien students, who had initially been skeptical, were starting to take his advice seriously. They asked questions and seemed genuinely interested in learning. Jake felt a spark of hope. Maybe he could change their perceptions after all. When it was Zora's turn, she acted out an injury, pretending to stumble and scrape her arm. Jake guided her partner through the steps. "Remember to clean the wound first, then apply the bandage," he instructed. Zora's partner nodded, following Jake's advice. Okay, I'll do it," Zora said, her voice playful as she made a show of exaggerating her injury. "What do I do now, doctor?" She grinned at Jake, trying to lighten the mood. "Just focus on applying the bandage," Jake replied, smiling back. As they worked together, he could see Zora starting to get into it. She concentrated, following his instructions carefully. "You're doing great," he encouraged. The other students watched in amusement, but also with growing respect. They began to see that Jake's methods were not only practical but effective. As the training session progressed, the atmosphere shifted from skepticism to curiosity. Jake felt a surge of energy, knowing he was making a difference. After the exercise, the instructor praised Jake. "Well done, everyone. You have all learned valuable skills today. they said, their voice booming with approval. Thanks to Jake for showing us a different approach to first aid. The class erupted in applause, surprising Jake. He beamed with pride, feeling accepted for the first time. As the students gathered their things, Zara approached him. "I have to admit, you were better than I expected," she said, her eyes sparkling with genuine appreciation. "Maybe humans aren't so useless after all." Jake chuckled, feeling a sense of camaraderie. "Thanks, Zara. I appreciate that. I'm just glad you all took it seriously." As they left the training room, Jake realized that he had made progress. The alien students were beginning to see him as an equal, not just a curious human. The unexpected exchange had transformed into something meaningful. They were starting to break down the walls between their worlds, one lesson at a time. With each passing day, Jake grew more confident. He was determined to prove that humanity had much to offer. The training session was just the beginning of his journey, and he was excited to see where it would lead. Together, they would learn, grow, and maybe even change the way they viewed each other forever. The unexpected crisis. The days passed, and Jake found himself settling into the Alien Academy. He enjoyed his time with the students, sharing his knowledge and learning about their cultures. The classroom buzzed with energy, and he felt a sense of belonging. However, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was brewing just beneath the surface. One afternoon, while Jake was preparing for another training session, an alarm blared through the academy. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Students looked around in confusion, their chatter growing louder. The instructor quickly gathered everyone in the central hall, where anxiety hung thick in the air. Jake stood at the back, his heart racing. The instructor's voice cut through the chaos. "Everyone, listen. We have an emergency. There's been an explosion in the nearby research facility. We need to evacuate immediately." Panic spread like wildfire. Students rushed to the exits, but Jake noticed some hesitated, fear etched on their faces. He knew this was a chance to show them the value of his training. "Stay calm," he called out, raising his voice to be heard above the din. "Follow me. We need to organize the evacuation." He stepped forward, his heart pounding. The instructor nodded, a look of relief washing over their features. "Yes, everyone, let's follow Jake's lead. We need to stay focused." Jake quickly gathered a group of students. "Listen, we have to move to the safe zone, but we need to help those who might be injured. Zara, can you grab the first aid kits?" Zara nodded, her eyes wide with determination. "I'm on it." She dashed to the supply room, and Jake turned to the other students. "If anyone gets hurt, remember what we practiced. We can save lives." As they moved through the hallways, Jake's mind raced with strategies. He had to ensure everyone was safe. The air felt thick with smoke, and the distant sounds of chaos filled their ears. They reached the main entrance, where a crowd of students had gathered. Some were injured, while others were trying to help them. Jake spotted a young alien girl sitting on the ground, clutching her arm, tears streaming down her face. Without hesitation, he rushed over. "What happened?" he asked gently, kneeling beside her. "Are you hurt?" She looked up at him, her eyes wide with fear. "I fell when the explosion happened. My arm hurts." Jake quickly assessed the situation. "Okay, let's take a look," he said, carefully examining her injury. It was a scrape, but it looked deep. He could see she needed immediate care. "Zara, I need the first aid kit over here." Zara arrived, panting and holding the kit tightly. "What do you need?" "Antiseptic and a bandage," Jake replied, his voice steady. He spoke to the girl as he worked, trying to comfort her. "You're going to be okay. I'm going to clean this up, and it will hurt a little, but I promise it will feel better after." As he cleaned the wound, he noticed other students gathering around, watching intently. They were observing how he worked under pressure, how he remained calm and focused. Jake felt their eyes on him, but he pushed his nerves aside. With quick hands, he bandaged the girl's arm, securing it gently. "There, you did great," Just take deep breaths, he said, offering her a reassuring smile. The girl nodded, her fear slowly fading. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from behind them. The crowd gasped, and Jake turned to see debris falling from a nearby structure. His heart raced. "We need to get everyone to safety," he shouted. "Follow me." With Zora leading the way, they navigated through the chaos, ensuring that everyone stayed close. Jake felt a surge of responsibility. He was no longer just a human among aliens. He was their leader in this crisis. As they reached the safe zone, Jake counted the students, making sure everyone was accounted for. The instructor praised his quick thinking. "You did an incredible job, Jake," they said, their voice filled with admiration. "You've shown everyone what humanity can do in a crisis." The alien students looked at him with newfound respect. They had witnessed his skills in action, and it had changed their perception of him. No longer just a curiosity, Jake had become a vital part of their community. As the chaos subsided, Jake felt a sense of pride. He had proven that humans had something valuable to offer, even in the most challenging situations. The unexpected crisis had brought them together, forging bonds that would last a lifetime. Jake realized that he was no longer just a guest in this alien world. He was an integral part of it, and as he looked around at his classmates, he knew they would continue to learn from one another, breaking down barriers and building a brighter future together. The bonding experience. In the days that followed the crisis, the atmosphere at the academy began to change. The alien students looked at Jake with new eyes. They had witnessed his courage and skill during the emergency, and they felt a bond forming between them. Jake noticed that they were more willing to engage with him during lessons and share their own stories. One afternoon, as they gathered in the training hall, Jake decided it was time to share more about his human culture. "How about we have a cultural exchange?" he suggested. "I can teach you some first aid techniques, and you can share something unique about your home planets." The students nodded enthusiastically. Zara spoke up. "That sounds fun. I have some traditional dances we can show you." Jake smiled, feeling excited. "Great, and I'll show you how to treat common injuries. It's important for all of us to know how to help each other." The following week was filled with preparation. Jake taught the students about bandaging wounds, treating burns, and performing CPR. He was surprised by how quickly they picked up the skills. They practiced on dummies he had brought from Earth, their laughter echoing through the halls as they tried to mimic his movements. On the last day of the exchange, the students decided to showcase their dance. They gathered in a large hall, decorated with colorful banners representing their home worlds. Jake felt a rush of excitement and nervousness. He had never seen an alien dance before. The students took turns performing, their movements graceful and fluid. The rhythm was unlike anything Jake had heard. The music resonated through the air, and the dances told stories of their cultures, stories of bravery, love, and unity. Each performance ended with cheers and applause from their classmates. Finally, it was Jake's turn. He felt a wave of apprehension wash over him. He had never danced in front of a crowd before. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward. "Okay, everyone, I'll show you a simple dance from Earth. It's called the two-step." He began to teach them the steps, demonstrating with enthusiasm. At first, the alien students struggled to keep up, their limbs moving awkwardly. But soon, they began to find their rhythm. Laughter filled the hall as they stumbled and corrected each other. As they danced together, Jake felt an overwhelming sense of joy. They were no longer just students and teacher. They were friends, united by the experiences they had shared. The dance became a celebration of their differences and similarities, and it solidified their bond. After the dance, they sat together in a circle, sharing snacks from their different cultures. Jake offered them some Earth snacks, potato chips and chocolate. The alien students tried them with curiosity, their faces lighting up with delight. "This is amazing," exclaimed Zora, her mouth full of chocolate. "You have to show us how to make this." Jake chuckled, feeling a warmth in his heart. "I'll teach you how to make chocolate chip cookies. It's a simple recipe, and we can all enjoy it together." As the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, Jake felt a sense of peace wash over him. The cultural exchange had brought them closer, breaking down walls of misunderstanding. He realized how powerful these experiences could be. Before they parted ways, Jake spoke up. "I want to thank all of you for being open and willing to learn. This has been an amazing experience for me. I feel lucky to have friends like you." The students beamed at him, their eyes shining with appreciation. "Thank you for sharing your knowledge, Jake," one of them said. "We've learned so much from you." As they headed back to their dorms, Jake reflected on how far they had come together. They had faced challenges, learned new skills, and created memories that would last a lifetime. The bond they formed that day was just the beginning. Jake knew that they would continue to grow, learning from each other and becoming stronger as a united group. The unexpected challenges had transformed their relationships, showing them the strength of teamwork and friendship. With renewed hope, Jake looked forward to what the future held. They were on a journey together, one that would reveal the true potential of humanity and the unique strengths of their alien friends. The unseen threat. As the days passed at the academy, Jake and the alien students continued to build their friendship. They laughed, learned, and shared stories about their worlds. However, an unseen threat loomed on the horizon, one that could disrupt their newfound bond and challenge everything they had achieved together. One day, while they were practicing first aid techniques, a group of older alien students entered the training hall. They were known for their arrogance and looked down on those who were friends with a human. Jake could feel their disdain the moment they walked in. Zara whispered, "Those are the elite students. They think they are better than everyone else." The leader of the group, a tall alien with shimmering blue skin named Varric, stepped forward. "What's going on here? Are you seriously taking lessons from a human?" He sneered, his eyes narrowing at Jake. "Do you think he can teach you anything useful?" Zara stood up, her voice steady. "Jake has taught us valuable skills. We can help each other in ways you don't understand." Varric laughed, and the other students joined in. "Help? A human? You're all just wasting your time. Humans are weak and unworthy of our attention." Jake felt a rush of anger, but knew that reacting impulsively would only make things worse. Instead, he took a deep breath and looked at Varric. "I may be human, but I've shown that I can help. We all have something to learn from each other, regardless of our species." Varric scoffed. "You think you're special because you helped one alien. It won't change the fact that humans are banned from galactic warfare for a reason." His words hung heavy in the air, and Jake felt the tension rise. Zara stepped closer to Jake, her eyes defiant. "We're stronger together. You may think you're above us, but you don't understand our world or what we can do as a team." Varric's expression turned menacing. "You're foolish if you think you can challenge me. The Council of the Stars doesn't allow weak species to participate in their affairs. If you associate with him, you will face the consequences." With that, Varric turned and left with his group, their laughter echoing as they walked away. The room fell silent, and Jake could feel the unease settling over his friends. "Are you okay?" Zara asked, her voice filled with concern. Jake nodded, trying to shake off the weight of Varric's words. "I'm fine. It's just frustrating. But we can't let them get to us. We know what we can do together." The following days were tense. Varric and his group continued to bully the students, spreading rumors about Jake and trying to turn the others against him. The alien students were torn, caught between the opinions of the elite students and their growing bond with Jake. One afternoon, while they were in the training hall, Zara spoke up. "We need to show Varric and the others that we are united. We can't let them break us apart." The others nodded, and they discussed how to stand together against the threat. They decided to hold a demonstration of their skills, combining their knowledge of first aid and combat techniques. It would be a chance to show everyone that humans and aliens could work together effectively. They practiced hard, ensuring that they were prepared for the challenge ahead. On the day of the demonstration, students from all over the academy gathered to watch. Jake and the alien students stood together, their faces filled with determination. As they showcased their skills, they highlighted the strength of their teamwork. Zara took the lead, demonstrating a first aid technique while Jake provided support, explaining the human methods. The crowd watched in awe as they seamlessly worked together. As the demonstration progressed, Jake noticed Varric in the back, watching with narrowed eyes. He could sense that the atmosphere was shifting. The audience began to cheer, realizing that their bond was stronger than they had been led to believe. When they finished, applause erupted throughout the hall. Students approached Jake and his friends, eager to learn more about the skills they had demonstrated. Varric and his group looked furious, but could do nothing to stop the support that was growing around them. In that moment, Jake felt a rush of pride. They had turned a moment of division into a celebration of unity. They had shown that no matter the challenges, they could stand together against any threat. As the crowd dispersed, Zara turned to Jake with a smile. "We did it. We showed them that we are strong together." Jake nodded, feeling a sense of hope. They had faced adversity and emerged victorious. But in the back of his mind, he knew that this was only the beginning. The threats might not be over, but they had proven that together they could overcome anything. Their journey had just begun. The rising conflict. The excitement from the demonstration spread through the academy like wildfire. Jake and his alien friends were celebrated for their bravery and teamwork. However, beneath the cheers and applause, a storm was brewing. Varric and his group were not the type to accept defeat easily, and the tension in the air hinted at trouble ahead. One evening, as Jake and Zara studied in the library, they overheard a conversation between two elite students. "Varric is furious about what happened at the demonstration," one of them whispered. "He's planning something to show that humans don't belong here." Jake's heart sank. He shared a worried glance with Zora. "We need to warn the others," he said quietly. The next day, Jake gathered his friends in a quiet corner of the academy. "We need to be ready. Varric is not going to let this go. He's plotting something against us," he explained. "We have to stay united and keep our guard up." Zara nodded, her expression serious. "We can train together more often. If they try to challenge us again, we'll be prepared." As they trained, the atmosphere changed. While they practiced their skills, they also began to develop a deeper understanding of each other's strengths and weaknesses. Jake learned how to navigate the alien technology that was crucial to their training, and the aliens became adept at human first aid techniques. Days passed, and just when they felt more confident, the conflict escalated. One afternoon, as Jake and the alien students were leaving a training session, they were ambushed by Varric and his followers. "Look who we have here." Varric sneered, stepping forward. A little human and his alien friends, thinking they're special. Jake took a deep breath, standing his ground. "We don't need to fight. We're here to learn from each other and grow stronger together." Varric laughed mockingly. "You think we'll let you prance around like you belong? You're nothing but a distraction. And now we'll show everyone just how weak you really are." Before Jake could react, Varric signaled to his followers, and they moved to block their path. "Let's see how well you do in a real challenge. A duel. You against me." Jake's heart raced. He looked to Zara and the others for support. They nodded, their eyes filled with determination. "We accept your challenge," Zara declared boldly. Varric smirked, clearly pleased. "Good. Meet us at the arena after sundown. We'll show everyone who really deserves to be here." As the sun began to set, Jake's nerves grew. "What if we lose?" he asked, pacing back and forth. "What if this goes wrong?" Zora placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We won't lose. We've trained hard, and we have each other. Just remember, it's not about winning or losing. It's about standing up for what we believe in." When they arrived at the arena, a large crowd had gathered, buzzing with anticipation. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Jake could see Varric and his followers standing on the opposite side, their expressions fierce and ready for a fight. The announcer called for silence as he introduced both sides. In this corner, we have Varric and his elite team. The crowd erupted in cheers. Then he turned to Jake and his friends. And in the other corner, we have Jake and his alien allies. The cheers were mixed, but Jake felt the support from his friends pushing him forward. He took a deep breath and stepped into the arena, feeling the weight of the moment. The duel began with Varric charging at Jake, but Jake was quick on his feet. He dodged Varric's attack, remembering the training they had practiced together. He countered with a series of defensive maneuvers, using his knowledge of first aid to assess where Varric might attack next. The fight escalated, and soon, both sides were engaged in a fierce battle. Jake and his friends fought together, showcasing their combined skills. They used their knowledge of combat and first aid to outmaneuver Varric's group, surprising everyone with their teamwork. As the duel continued, Jake noticed Varric becoming increasingly frustrated. He had underestimated their unity, and the realization struck him hard. In a final attempt to regain control, Varric charged at Jake again. But this time, Jake was ready. He sidestepped and used Varric's momentum against him, sending him crashing to the ground. The crowd gasped, and a cheer erupted for Jake and his friends. They had turned the tide of the battle, proving that their alliance was stronger than Varric had ever imagined. As Varric struggled to rise, Jake extended a hand. "This doesn't have to end in hatred. We can work together and learn from each other," he said, hoping to break the cycle of conflict. Varric looked at Jake's outstretched hand, his expression shifting from anger to surprise. The crowd watched, waiting for his response. Would he accept the hand of friendship, or would he let pride consume him? The outcome rested on his choice, and the moment hung in the air, heavy with potential. The choice of unity. The arena was filled with a tense silence as Varric stared at Jake's outstretched hand. The crowd held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Would Varric accept the offer of peace, or would he let pride and anger lead him further down a dark path? Varric's eyes narrowed, struggling with his emotions. He had always seen humans as weak, but now he was confronted with the strength of their unity. Jake and his friends had fought valiantly, not just for themselves but for a future where they could all coexist. Varric was faced with a choice: to cling to his old beliefs or embrace the possibility of collaboration. After what felt like an eternity, Varric finally took a deep breath and reached out. I don't know if I can trust you," he said slowly, his voice tinged with uncertainty. "But maybe we can try." As he grasped Jake's hand, the crowd erupted in cheers. Zara, along with the other alien students, joined Jake in a show of solidarity. They lifted Varric to his feet, and for the first time, there was a glimmer of respect in his eyes. "Why do you want to work with us?" Varric asked, still wary but curious. "Humans are so different from us. How can we possibly learn from each other?" Jake smiled, his heart swelling with hope. "Because we all want the same things. We want to learn, grow, and protect our people. Differences can be a strength if we work together. We can teach each other and become stronger, not just as individuals, but as allies." The realization began to sink in for Varric. He had always thought of humans as inferior, but this moment changed everything. He had witnessed their courage, their skill, and their heart. "Maybe I was wrong," he admitted, looking around at the gathered students and teachers. "Maybe we can build something better together." With the atmosphere shifting from hostility to cooperation, the crowd's energy changed. They saw the potential for a new alliance, one that could unite humans and aliens. The academy became a place of hope, not just for Jake and his friends, but for everyone who witnessed the power of unity. In the days that followed, Jake and Varric began to work closely together. They organized training sessions where both humans and aliens could share their skills. Jake taught first aid techniques that could save lives in emergencies, while Varric and his friends introduced combat tactics unique to their species. Slowly but surely, they broke down barriers and built friendships. During one session, Zora approached Jake. "I think we should have a festival to celebrate our new alliance," she suggested. "It would bring everyone together and show that we're stronger as a team." Jake's eyes lit up with excitement. "That's a great idea. We can showcase our skills, share our cultures, and learn more about each other." The festival preparations began, and everyone pitched in to make it a success. Students created banners, cooked traditional foods, and planned various games and activities. The energy was contagious, and the atmosphere was filled with laughter and camaraderie. When the day of the festival arrived, the academy was transformed into a vibrant celebration. Music filled the air, and the scent of delicious food wafted from every corner. Students from different species came together to participate in friendly competitions, showcasing their talents and learning from one another. As Jake watched everyone enjoy themselves, he felt a sense of pride. They had turned what could have been a bitter rivalry into a strong alliance. He glanced over at Varric, who was chatting with a group of humans, laughter ringing out from their circle. "This is amazing," Varric said, turning to Jake with a smile. "I never thought I would enjoy spending time with humans." Jake laughed. "Neither did I, but look at us now. This is just the beginning." As the sun began to set, the festival culminated in a grand ceremony. Jake took to the stage, standing beside Varric and Zora. "Today we celebrate not just our differences, but our unity," he began, addressing the crowd. "We have learned that by working together, we can achieve greatness." The cheers that followed echoed throughout the academy, a testament to the new bonds that had been forged. Jake looked out at the faces of his friends and allies, realizing that this was not just a victory for them, but for everyone who believed in cooperation and understanding. In that moment, Jake knew that they had changed the course of their history. The students had discovered the truth about humanity's strength. It lay in their ability to unite, to protect one another, and to face challenges together. They had taken a step towards a brighter future, one where humans and aliens could learn from each other and thrive side by side. As the festival lights twinkled under the stars, Jake felt a sense of hope. He understood that the journey ahead would not always be easy, but with their newfound alliance, they were ready to face whatever came their way. Together, they would pave the path to a better tomorrow.